As we mark the 8th of September 2025, let's pause to celebrate the lives of people we've recently lost and those whose legacies still guide us. This space is all about cherishing their memories and drawing strength from their stories. We'll also reflect on WWE superstar Roman Reigns' recent struggles that continue to move his fans. Subscribe now and help us keep their legacies alive. Mike Hallock, May 14th, 1968, July 11th, 2023, was an American professional wrestler best remembered for his time in the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, during the mid-1990s. Born in Omaha, Nebraska, Hallock began his wrestling career in 1991, showcasing a unique blend of size, power, and charisma that helped him stand out in the competitive world of professional wrestling. He gained his greatest recognition under the ring name Mantor, a character introduced in the WWF in 1995. Mantor was portrayed as a half-man, half-bull persona, complete with a bull's headpiece during his entrances. While the gimmick was short-lived, it made Hallock a memorable figure in the era's colourful roster. Later, he appeared under the name Tank, further adding to his reputation as a versatile performer willing to take on different roles. Outside of the WWF, Hallock competed in various promotions across the United States and Europe, carving out a career that spanned over a decade. His size, standing at 1.85 metres, 6 feet 1 inch, and his strong presence in the ring made him a formidable opponent and a recognisable personality among fans of the 1990s wrestling. Hallock passed away on July 11, 2023, in Cape Coral, Florida, at the age of 55. Though not a main event star, his career reflects the creativity and theatricality of professional wrestling during its boom years. Remembered fondly by fans, Mike Hallock remains a symbol of the larger-than-life characters that defined wrestling's golden era. Asahi, October 19, 2002, February 1, 2024, was a Japanese professional wrestler who became a promising figure in the Joshi Puroresu scene despite her young age. Born in Gunma, Japan, she entered the wrestling world remarkably early, making her professional debut for Ice Ribbon at just 14 years old. Her first match took place at the prestigious Korakuen Hall, a venue known for hosting many historic moments in Japanese wrestling, marking the start of what many believed would be a long and successful career. Asahi quickly earned recognition for her skill, determination, and ability to captivate audiences with her in-ring style. Competing primarily for Ice Ribbon and later also appearing in Actress Girl Z, she showcased versatility and spirit that resonated with fans of Joshi wrestling. Despite her relatively small stature, standing at 1.5 metres and weighing 48 kilograms, Asahi demonstrated resilience and passion that allowed her to thrive against seasoned competitors. Throughout her career, she became a well-regarded name in the Joshi circuit, representing the next generation of female wrestlers in Japan. Her youth and dedication symbolized the bright future of women's wrestling, and she was admired not only for her talent, but also for her commitment to improving with each performance. Tragically, Asahi's career and life were cut short when she passed away suddenly on February 1, 2024, at the age of 21 in an apparent car crash. Her untimely death shocked the wrestling community, leaving behind a legacy of promise and a memory of what could have been a legendary career. Terry Jean Bollea, August 11, 1953, July 24, 2025, better known by his legendary ring name, Hulk Hogan, was an American professional wrestler and media personality. Widely considered one of the greatest and most recognizable wrestling superstars in history, Hogan became a global icon who transcended the squared circle and brought professional wrestling into the mainstream spotlight during the 1980s and 1990s. Born in Augusta, Georgia, and raised in Florida, Hogan began his wrestling career in the late 1970s, before rising to stardom in the World Wrestling Federation, WWF. With his immense 2.01 meters, 6 feet 7 inches, frame, charisma, and larger-than-life persona, Hogan became the face of wrestling's rock and wrestling era. His trademark catchphrases, heroic image, and unforgettable theme music made him a household name. Hogan's accomplishments included being a 6-time WWF champion and a 6-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, solidifying his status as a multi-era main event performer. He headlined numerous WrestleMania events, including WrestleMania 3, where his iconic body slam of Andre the Giant remains one of the most celebrated moments in wrestling history. Outside the ring, Hogan became a pop culture star, appearing in movies, television shows, and endorsements. Despite controversies and personal struggles, he maintained a lasting legacy as wrestling's most influential figure. Hogan passed away on July 24, 2025, in Clearwater, Florida, at the age of 71. His impact on wrestling and entertainment is immeasurable, and he will forever be remembered as the ultimate symbol of professional wrestling's golden era. Billy Graham, born Eldridge Wayne Coleman on June 7, 1943, in Phoenix, Arizona, was a professional wrestler and bodybuilder who left an indelible mark on the wrestling industry. Known for his charismatic persona, larger-than-life physique, and innovative promo style, Graham was a trailblazer who influenced generations of wrestlers, particularly in how they presented themselves both in and out of the ring. Before entering the world of professional wrestling, Graham achieved success as a bodybuilder, even training with the iconic Arnold Schwarzenegger. His impressive physique and striking appearance made him a natural fit for wrestling, and he made his debut in 1969. Graham adopted the ring name Superstar Billy Graham, a nod to the famous evangelist of the same name, and quickly became known for his flamboyant style and outlandish interviews. With his tie-dye attire, bleached blonde hair, and muscular build, Graham stood out in an era where most wrestlers had a more traditional look. His colourful promos, filled with rhymes and braggadocio, were revolutionary at the time and set the standard for future wrestling personalities. In 1977, Graham reached the pinnacle of his career when he defeated Bruno Sammartino to win the WWE, then WWF, Heavyweight Championship. This victory was significant not only because Sammartino was one of the biggest stars in wrestling history, but also because Graham was one of the first villains, heels, to hold the title for an extended period. His reign as champion lasted nearly 10 months, during which he successfully defended the title against numerous challengers, solidifying his place as a top star in the industry. Graham's influence extended beyond his time as a champion. His persona inspired many future wrestling superstars, including Hulk Hogan, Jesse the Body Ventura, and Ric Flair, who all borrowed elements of Graham's style, whether it was his look, his promo delivery, or his overall approach to being a larger-than-life character. Despite his success, Graham's career was plagued by injuries and health issues, exacerbated by the use of anabolic steroids, which he later spoke out against. After retiring from in-ring competition, Graham faced numerous health challenges, including hip replacements and liver issues. However, he remained a vocal figure in the wrestling community, often sharing his thoughts on the industry and his experiences. In 2004, Graham was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, a recognition of his profound impact on the wrestling world. His contributions to the evolution of wrestling, particularly in the realm of character development and promotional style, continue to be acknowledged by fans and wrestlers alike. Billy Graham passed away on May 17, 2023, at the age of 79. His death marked the end of an era, but his legacy as a pioneer in professional wrestling lives on through the countless performers he influenced and the lasting impression he left on the sport. Butch Reed, born on July 11, 1958, in Kansas City, Missouri, was a prominent professional wrestler known for his athleticism, charisma, and memorable persona in the ring. Reed first gained fame in the 1980s, wrestling for various promotions, including the National Wrestling Alliance, NWA, and World Wrestling Federation, WWF. He was known for his powerful physique and agility, which allowed him to excel in various wrestling styles. Reed initially wrestled under the ring name The Natural Butch Reed, showcasing his impressive skills and athletic build. His career included notable feuds and tag team partnerships, particularly with wrestlers like Jim Neidhart and Ron Simmons. Reed's partnership with Simmons in the tag team Doom in WCW made a significant impact, as they became one of the most formidable duos in the promotion, winning the WCW World Tag Team Championship. One of Reed's most memorable moments came when he participated in the main event of WrestleMania 4 in 1988, solidifying his place in wrestling history. Throughout his career, Reed was known for his intense in-ring style and ability to connect with fans, earning respect from peers and audiences alike. After retiring from in-ring competition, Reed remained involved in wrestling as a trainer and mentor, helping to develop the next generation of talent. Sadly, Butch Reed passed away, leaving behind a legacy as a pioneering figure in professional wrestling and an inspiration to many within the industry. His contributions to wrestling continue to be remembered and celebrated by fans and fellow wrestlers. In a jaw-dropping turn of events at Clash in Paris 2025, the unthinkable happened. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, was not just beaten. He was demolished. In front of a stunned international crowd, Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed joined forces in a brutal, no-holds-barred assault that left Reigns broken and speechless in the centre of the ring. What started as a routine defence for Roman quickly spiralled into chaos as these two powerhouses made a statement no one saw coming. This wasn't just a match, it was a reckoning, and the reign of the bloodline may never be the same again. From the moment the arena doors opened, there was a tangible sense of anticipation. Fans from every corner of the world packed the Accor Arena, their chants echoing in unison and bouncing off the walls as if the entire city of Paris itself had held its breath. Banners waved, colours blurred into a tapestry of excitement, and the scent of sweat, anticipation, and pyrotechnics filled the air. Every spectator understood that this was more than a match. This was history in the making. A collision of eras, personalities, and philosophies, all converging in one explosive night. Bron Breakker. Legacy in motion. Bron Breakker emerged first, the arena lights capturing the raw intensity radiating from him. He wasn't just a wrestler, he was a living continuation of a legendary lineage. The son of Rick Steiner and part of a family whose influence on wrestling history was monumental. Breakker carried the weight of expectation with a grace and intensity that set him apart. Yet, he was more than his bloodline. Every stride, every flex of muscle, every flare of aggression revealed a man determined to carve his own path, to honour his heritage while asserting himself as a force wholly distinct. In the ring, Breakker's style was a masterclass of athletic precision and explosive energy. Each move, whether a snap suplex, a sudden power slam, or a strategic positioning for a pin, was both a demonstration of raw power and storytelling. Wrestling for him wasn't just about victory, it was about narrative. Every near fall, every reversal, every gasp from the crowd was a punctuation in a story he told with his body, his timing, and his instinct. Beyond technique, there was charisma. It radiated naturally, from the intensity in his gaze to the way he acknowledged fans. Breakker didn't need scripted lines. His very presence demanded attention, his energy a magnet pulling the audience into the drama of the moment. Bronson Reed. The Australian Colossus. Where Breakker brought fire, Bronson Reed brought raw, unyielding force. Towering at over 6.5 feet with a physique that combined mass and agility, Reed defied conventional wrestling logic. Watching him move was mesmerizing, a creature of immense size flowing across the ring with the fluidity and timing of a dancer. Each step carried inevitability, each strike the weight of authority, and every lift demonstrated not only strength, but the refined control of an experienced technician. Reed's journey added depth to his intimidation. Hailing from Australia, he had traversed international wrestling circuits, refining his craft far from the bright lights of WWE. Each territory tested him physically, mentally, and emotionally, shaping him into a competitor who could dominate without sacrificing technical finesse. His rise was a testament to resilience, to adapting under pressure, and to harnessing raw talent into calculated impact. When paired with Breakker, Reed became more than a complement. He became an unstoppable force, a towering presence that amplified Breakker's intensity and transformed their alliance into a perfect storm. Roman Reigns, the apex of calculated dominance. Opposite them stood Roman Reigns, the embodiment of wrestling mastery and psychological control. Known as the Tribal Chief, Reigns' reign had been characterized by methodical dominance, a balance of raw power and cerebral calculation. He wasn't merely a performer, he was a tactician. Every feint, every gaze, every signature move was designed to control the narrative, to manipulate both opponents and audience alike. Reigns' dominance wasn't merely physical, it was psychological. Years of calculated strategy, loyalty manipulation, and in-ring mastery had turned him into a near-mythical figure. Opponents often underestimated him, only to discover that every step in the ring, every hesitation, every opening was an opportunity for Reigns to assert control. On this night, he wasn't just defending a title, he represented the status quo, the established order, the apex of authority in the WWE universe. And yet, even he could not anticipate the tidal force that Breakker and Reed would bring crashing down upon him. The build-up, strategy meets momentum. The weeks leading to Clash in Paris had been an intricate web of narrative and suspense. Breakker and Reed were not spontaneous threats. Their alliance had been meticulously teased through promos, vignettes, and confrontations, hinting at shared purpose and inevitable confrontation. Breakker's words were laced with legacy and ambition, while Reed's quiet, brooding intensity projected destruction without a single word. Fans theorized endlessly, debates raged online, and the collective excitement grew with each passing moment. The storyline resonated because it mirrored universal themes: the clash between entrenched authority and rising power, between precision and unpredictability, between legacy and innovation. Roman Reigns represented control, calculation, and the old guard. Breakker and Reed embodied disruption, raw talent, and the unstoppable force of the new generation. Each promo, each stare-down, each staged altercation built tension like tightening gears in a clock, culminating in a night that promised, and ultimately delivered, a spectacle of unprecedented magnitude. The Parisian Spectacle. Inside the Accor Arena, the energy was almost tangible. Every cheer, every chant, every gasp of the crowd became part of the atmosphere, amplifying the drama in real time. The lighting, the pyrotechnics, the dramatic pacing of entrances, all combined to elevate the stakes beyond mere competition. Breakker's explosive entrance ignited the crowd, a fire that coursed through every spectator. Reed's imposing figure followed, drawing awe-struck silence before the roar erupted. And then Reigns appeared, regal and commanding, his presence a reminder of the empire he had built and the authority he wielded. The visual contrast of the three competitors, Breakker's intensity, Reed's towering calm, Reigns' calculated dominance, was itself a narrative. They represented different eras, different philosophies, different forces colliding in a storm of athleticism, strategy, and raw emotion. The ring became a crucible where past, present, and future met, each second charged with stakes far beyond the physical realm. The match. Chaos unleashed. When the bell rang, the arena erupted. Breakker and Reed moved with precision and synchronization, a combination of explosive offense and tactical strategy that challenged Reigns' control at every turn. Reigns adapted, countering with surgical precision, using every psychological and physical tool at his disposal. The back-and-forth energy between these three forces created a story in real time, each near fall and reversal amplifying tension and emotion. Fans weren't passive observers. They were living participants, their reactions fueling the narrative with each shout, gasp, and chant. The assault escalated into something unprecedented. Breakker and Reed combined raw power with relentless aggression, isolating Reigns and systematically dismantling his calculated dominance. Each strike, each slam, each coordination of movement told a story of upheaval. The old guard being challenged, the seemingly untouchable empire facing its reckoning. The reckoning. By the climax, the spectacle transcended wrestling itself. The two challengers, united in purpose, unleashed a force that Reigns could not contain. The arena itself seemed to vibrate under the intensity, the audience feeling every impact, every near fall, and every desperate struggle. This was more than a match. It was a symbolic reshaping of power, an emotional and physical reckoning, a moment where history bent under the weight of inevitability. Paris was no longer just a city. The Accor Arena was no longer just a venue. Breakker, Reed, and Reigns were no longer merely athletes. They were storytellers, warriors, and icons, channeling lineage, raw power, ambition, and strategy into a performance that would be remembered for generations. The clash of eras, philosophies, and sheer willpower created a narrative that redefined what was possible in professional wrestling. And when the dust settled, it was clear. The reign of the bloodline had been shaken to its core, and the future belonged to a new generation. Entering the arena. The roar of the crowd. The arena was more than just a building. It was alive, pulsating with anticipation, as though every steel beam and concrete slab carried its own heartbeat, syncing with the collective energy of thousands of fans gathered within. Each corner of the venue seemed to vibrate with excitement, an invisible current that ran from the front row to the upper balconies, a shared, unspoken agreement that something monumental was about to unfold. When the lights dimmed, the sudden hush that fell over the crowd was almost reverent, a pause that felt like the universe itself had taken a breath in anticipation of what was coming. And then, without warning, the opening notes of Breakker's theme cut through the silence like a bolt of lightning, shattering it into 1,000 fragments of sheer, uncontainable energy. The sound wasn't merely music, it was a herald, a declaration of presence, a signal that someone formidable had arrived. It bounced off the steel and concrete of the stadium, reverberating in the chests of every person in attendance. It wasn't just heard, it was felt, a tactile force that travelled through the air, vibrating through the floors, seats, and even the souls of those watching. The anticipation that had been quietly building erupted in a wave of screams and cheers, each note of the theme amplifying the feeling that the arena itself was waking, breathing, preparing to bear witness to something legendary. Breakker appeared, storming down the ramp with the intensity of a man possessed. Every muscle under the bright arena lights rippled with controlled aggression, each movement precise, deliberate, and violent in its intention. His expression was locked and focused, an almost feral mix of determination and hunger, the raw ambition of a competitor who understands that the ring is both battlefield and proving ground. His every step was a statement. This was not an exhibition. This was a declaration of intent. a proclamation that he had arrived to dominate. Fans leapt to their feet, shaking banners and screaming his name, their voices a collective fuel for the storm of momentum he carried. The cameras captured every detail, from the glistening beads of sweat on his brow to the fire in his eyes and the subtle flexing of hands ready for action. Every angle, every frame, reinforced the perception that Breakker was not merely entering the arena, he was staking his claim. Moments later, the atmosphere shifted once more as Bronson Reed emerged. His presence was starkly different yet equally commanding. Whereas Breakker radiated explosive energy, Reed exuded quiet, immovable power, the kind of aura that made the audience lean forward unconsciously, drawn to the slow, methodical inevitability he represented. His stride was measured, deliberate, and each step carried weight, both literal and metaphorical, as if the earth beneath him could feel the force he was about to unleash. The arena itself seemed to sense the difference, the tension thickening, almost tangible, as though even the rafters and lights braced themselves for the collision to come. Reed's presence wasn't loud or flashy, but it was unshakable. His mere existence in the space commanded respect and apprehension in equal measure. Then, a different kind of tension settled over the arena as Roman Reigns made his entrance. Unlike the explosive theatrics of the others, Reigns' appearance was about authority, control, and calculated power. Pyrotechnics ignited, not to startle, but to punctuate his arrival, a visual affirmation that the arena bowed in recognition of his status. His cape flowed behind him like a river of darkness, glinting with every flicker of light, a visual metaphor for the dominance he carried effortlessly. Reigns' eyes swept over the crowd with precise calculation, finally locking on Breakker and Reed with an intensity that spoke not of aggression alone, but of patient predatory focus. Every step was a declaration. The tribal chief was unshakable, unyielding, and in complete control. The audience, caught between awe and fear, felt the magnetic pull of his presence, understanding instinctively that this was a man who commanded not just respect, but compliance. Momentum shifts, a battle of endurance and will. As minutes stretched into what felt like an eternity, the match evolved from raw confrontation to a nuanced battle of endurance, stamina, and willpower. The arena became a living entity, its energy ebbing and flowing with the intensity of the fight. Fans' voices rose and fell like waves in a storm-tossed sea, signs waving high, chants forming a rhythm that both reflected and amplified the drama unfolding in the ring. Breakker and Reed operated with near instinctual synergy, coordinating attacks and cutting off escape routes, forcing Reigns into a defensive posture that tested both his physical and mental limits. Yet Reigns remained unshaken. Each counter was surgical, each pause deliberate, a tactical measure designed to provoke overcommitment from his opponents. His mastery was evident not just in the execution of moves, but in the orchestration of tension, in the ebb and flow of the fight, in the almost imperceptible manipulation of the narrative itself. Every slam endured, every strike absorbed, became an opportunity for him to assert dominance, a subtle reminder to the audience that mastery is as much mental as it is physical. Then came a moment that would forever be etched in the memories of everyone present. Breakker and Reed executed a double-team maneuver with such precision and raw force that the arena collectively held its breath. Breakker lifted Reigns with a display of sheer strength, muscles taut and defined, defying gravity in a show of pure power. Reed followed with a thunderous slam, the impact reverberating through the ring and into the seats, shaking both the physical and emotional foundations of the audience. The collective gasp, the eruption of cheers and disbelief, was a testament to the audacity of the attack. In that instant, the aura of invincibility surrounding the tribal chief was challenged in a tangible, almost seismic way. Context and legacy. Understanding the stakes. To fully grasp the magnitude of this encounter, one must consider the paths that led each competitor to this moment. Breaker carries a storied lineage, wrestling coursing through his veins as both inheritance and expectation. For him, every move is a conversation with history, a declaration of self-worth and ambition, a bid to carve out his own legacy while honouring the one that preceded him. His aggression, skill and hunger are steeped in the weight of familial expectation, turning each strike into an act of both rebellion and homage. Reed's journey, in contrast, is defined not by lineage but by resilience. He embodies the power of adversity, of challenges overcome through sheer determination and focused discipline. Where others might rely on finesse or inherited knowledge, Reed relies on strength, technique, and quiet confidence. His presence signals inevitability, a force that does not need to rush to dominate. It simply exists, and the consequences follow naturally. Reigns represents a third dimension entirely, a blend of athleticism, psychology, and performance. His mastery extends beyond the physical to the emotional, intellectual, and theatrical. Every gesture, every glance, every carefully timed pause is a tool in asserting dominance. Opponents may overwhelm others with brute force, but against Reigns, they confront strategy, control, and narrative mastery, a living embodiment of wrestling as theatre and sport simultaneously. The audience as witness, a living energy. No match exists in isolation. Wrestling is a dialogue between performers and audience, a co-created spectacle that feeds off energy, emotion, and anticipation. Fans in attendance were far from passive. They were participants, their cheers, chants, gasps, and signs forming an integral part of the experience. LED boards flickered in rhythm with chants, glow sticks waved in unison, and each reaction became part of a living tapestry of drama. When Breaker and Reed executed their double-team maneuver, the audience's collective gasp was not just a reaction, but a testament to the power of shared experience, an acknowledgement that something extraordinary had just occurred. The emotional resonance of the crowd elevated every moment, turning athletic exchanges into communal storytelling. Wrestling, in this sense, is not just a contest, but an immersive narrative, co-authored by the performers and those who bear witness. The energy of the fans, their anticipation and exhilaration, fed back into the ring, intensifying the stakes and transforming every move into a shared triumph or peril. The aftermath, echoes of glory and chaos. As the competitors regained their footing and the dust settled, the arena hummed with residual energy, tension, and exhilaration. The match was over in terms of action, but the resonance lingered, thick and almost tangible in the air. Fans understood that they had witnessed something historic, not just feats of athleticism, but a narrative layered with psychology, strategy, and human emotion. Each strike, each slam, each counter was part of a larger story about ambition, resilience, and the unrelenting pursuit of dominance. This encounter served as a microcosm of wrestling itself, a convergence of skill, history, and spectacle. Breaker brought explosive energy and ambition. Reed, quiet power and precision. Reigns, strategic mastery and mythic presence. Together, they transformed the ring into a crucible of human drama, where every movement was a chapter, every reaction a paragraph, and every outcome a punctuation mark in a story larger than any single performer. Conclusion, triumph, tension, and the echo of legacy. When the final bell rang and the roar of the crowd began to fade, a profound stillness settled over the ring. Breaker, Reed, and Reigns stood battered and sweat-drenched, yet every inch of their presence testified to endurance, skill, and the sheer willpower that the contest demanded. Every slam, every counter, every perfectly timed strike had been more than an exhibition of athleticism. It had been a story a narrative that transcended the individual and spoke to legacy, ambition, and human resilience. Wrestling, in its truest form, is never just about victory or defeat. It is about the narrative, the legacy, the strategy, the emotion carried through every motion. Breaker's explosive intensity, Reed's unstoppable force, and Reigns' calculated dominance collided to create a spectacle that would resonate long after the lights dimmed and the crowd dispersed. Fans left with hearts pounding, having witnessed more than a match. They had experienced a narrative of struggle, strategy, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. The echoes of this confrontation would linger, whispered in conversations, celebrated in highlights, and analysed for years to come. Each competitor left an indelible mark on the night, proving that power alone is never enough. True champions are defined by strategy, psychology, heart, and the courage to push themselves and their adversaries to the limits. And as the arena emptied and the echoes faded into memory, the story of this epic battle remained etched in the minds of all who bore witness, a reminder that legends are made not in the victories alone, but in the battles that demand everything from those who dare to fight.